I'm Shannon. I'm a spiritual gangster. I'm here, the owner operator of Anchored Soul Therapy, and this is the Spiritual Gangsta Book Club. We're reading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. We are on our 9th week, and we are on chapter 6. If anybody has the book and you guys want to read at any time, I'm more than welcome at this week because I just don't know how much I can read without coughing. But let's do a recap of last week, okay? So last week we completed chapter 5, and it was called The State of Presence. Chapter 5, okay? He said here, Eckhart talked about the esoteric meaning of waiting, stating that there was so much to be gained when we focused on the silence between the silence. And he also, into this chapter, talked about remembering our reality of our own divine presence, extending the knowledge that you are Christ, and making sure that it's imperative for us to remove the personalization we have towards Christ, meaning removing of human form, the appearance, gender even, and that we should look to Christ merely as an enlightened teacher. We're drawn to every mentor or teacher because there's something already within ourselves that we recognize that we're trying to gain. Now, all the past readings, I have them all up on anchoredsoultherapy.com in the book club section. You can archive everything there. You can read everything. You can read the old emails that I send out after each reading, and you can check in and listen up and catch to all the readings, okay? So, you guys ready to read? So we're on page 107. Oh, hold on, my headphones are dying. Let me take these suckers out.
Yeah, I was saying I can start reading if you want.
Yes, that would be amazing. You're a lifesaver. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay.
I'll read after so that we can all, work together for her.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right.
All right. Chapter 6, the inner body. Being is your deepest self. You spoke earlier about the importance of having deep roots within or inhabiting the body. Can you explain what you meant by that? The body can become a point of access into the realm of being. Let's go into that more deeply now. I am still not quite sure if I fully understand what you mean by being. Water? What do you mean by that? I don't understand it. This is what a fish would say if it had a human mind. Please stop trying to understand being. You have already had significant glimpses of being, but the mind will always try to squeeze it into a little box and then put a label on it. It cannot be done. It cannot become an object of knowledge. In being, subject and object merge into one. Being can be felt as the ever present I am that is beyond name and form. To feel and thus to know that you are and to abide in that deeply rooted state is enlightenment, is the truth that Jesus says will make you free. Free from what? Free from the illusion that you are nothing more than a physical body and your mind. This illusion of the self, as the Buddha calls it, is the core error. Free from fear in its countless disguises as the inevitable consequences of that illusion, the fear that is your constant tormentor as long as you derive your sense of self only from this ephemeral and vulnerable form, and free from sin, which is the suffering you unconsciously inflict on yourself and others as long as this illusory sense of self governs what you think, say, and do. Look beyond the words. I don't like the word sin. It implies that I am being judged and found guilty. I can understand that. Over the centuries, many erroneous views and interpretations have accumulated around words such as sin due to ignorance, misunderstanding, or a desire to control, but they contain an essential core of truth. If you are unable to look beyond such interpretations and so cannot recognize the reality to which the word points, then don't use it. Don't get stuck on the level of words. A word is no more than a means to an end. It's an abstraction, not unlike a signpost. It points beyond itself. The word honey isn't honey. You can study and talk about honey for as long as you like, but you won't really know it until you taste it. After you have tasted it, the word becomes less important to you. You won't be attached to it anymore. Similarly, you can talk or think about God consciously for the rest of your life, but does that mean you know or have even glimpsed the reality to which the word points? It really is it really is no more than an obsessive attachment to a signpost, a mental idol. The reverse also implies if for whatever reason you dislike the word honey, that might prevent you from ever tasting it. If you had a strong aversion to the word God, which is a negative form of attachment, you may be denying not just the word, but also the reality to which it points. You would be cutting yourself off from the possibility of experiencing that reality. All this is, of course, intrinsically connected with being identified with your mind. So if a word doesn't work for you anymore, then drop it and replace it with one that does work. If you don't like the word sin, then call it unconsciousness or insanity, sorry. That may get you closer to the truth, the reality behind the word, than a long misused word like sin, and leaves little room for guilt. I don't like those words either. They imply there is something wrong with me. I'm being judged. Of course, there's something wrong with you, and you are not being judged. I don't mean to offend you personally, but do you not belong to the human race that killed over 100 million members of its own species in the 20th century alone? You mean guilt by association? It is not a question of guilt, but as long as you are run by the egoic mind, you are part of the collective insanity. Perhaps you haven't looked very deeply into the human condition and its state of dominance by the egoic mind. Open your eyes and see the fear, the despair, the greed, and the violence that are all pervasive, sorry. See the heinous cruelty and suffering on an unimaginable scale that humans have inflicted and continue to inflict on each other, as well as on the life forms on the planet. You don't need to condemn, just observe. That is sin. That is insanity. That is unconsciousness. Above all, don't forget to observe your own mind. Seek out the root of the insanity there. Finding your invisible and indestructible reality. You said that identification with our physical form is part of the illusion. So, how can the body, the physical form, bring you to a realization of being? The body that you can see and touch cannot take you into the being, but that visible and tangible body is only an outer shell, or rather, a limited and distorted perception of a deeper reality. In your in your natural state of connectedness with being, this deeper reality can be felt every moment as the invisible inner body, the animating presence within you. So the inhabit the body is to feel the body from within, to feel the life inside the body, and thereby come to know that you are beyond the outer form. But that is only the beginning of an inward journey that will take you ever more deeply into a realm of great stillness and peace. yet also of great power and vibrant life. At first, you may only get fleeting glimpses of it, but through them, you will begin to realize that you are not just a meaningless fragment in an alien universe, briefly suspended between birth and death, allowed a few short lived pleasures followed by pain and ultimate annihilation. Underneath your outer form, you are connected with something so vast, so immeasurable and sacred, and it cannot be conceived or spoken of. Yet I am speaking of it now. I am speaking of it not to give you something to believe in, but to show you how you can know it for yourself. You are cut off from being as long as your mind takes up all your attention. When this happens, and it happens continuously for most people, you are not in your body. The mind absorbs all your consciousness and transforms it into mind stuff. You cannot stop thinking. Compulsive thinking has become a collective disease. Your whole sense of who you are is then derived from mind activity. Your identity, as it is no longer rooted in being, becomes a vulnerable and ever needy mental construct, which creates fear as the predominant underlying emotion. The one thing that truly matters is then missing from your life: awareness of your deeper self, your invisible and indestructible reality. To become conscious of being, you need to reclaim a consciousness from the mind. This is one of the most essential tasks on your spiritual journey. It will free vast amounts of consciousness that previously had been trapped in useless and compulsive thinking. A very effective way of doing this is simply to take the focus of your attention away from thinking and direct it into the body, where being can be felt in the first instance as the invisible energy field that gives life to what you perceive as the physical body. Connecting with the inner body. Please try it now. You may find it helpful to close your eyes for this practice. Later on, when being in the body has become natural and easy, this will no longer be necessary. Direct your attention into the body. Feel it from within. Is it alive? Is there life in your hands, arms, legs, and feet? In your abdomen, your chest? Can you feel the subtle energy field that pervades the entire body and vibrant life to every organ and every cell? Can you feel it simultaneously in all parts of the body as a single field of energy? Keep focusing on the feeling of your inner body for a few moments. Do not start to think about it. Feel it. The more attention you give it, the clearer and stronger this feeling will become. It will feel as if every cell is becoming more alive, and if you have a strong visual sense, you may get an image of your body becoming luminous. Although such an image can help you temporarily, pay more attention to the feeling than any image that may arise. An image, no matter how beautiful or powerful, is already defined in form, so there is less scope for penetrating more deeply. And there's a pause.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
So let's take a moment and kind of go back here what he was saying. So I love these things, where he's talking here about the words and how we get hung up on words about, how they feel and what we think of them, the way they're stuck. This was something that we spoke about in the very beginning of the book, with the word God. As a lot of people, have negative thoughts about these words because of the human race, what we've done to those words, and how we've created such what do you say, tarnish onto the words. And then this part here with the exercise reminds me of um, the integration work I had you guys do last week about, you know, taking time to meditate and to feel the energetic body. Were you guys able to do that? Did you take time to do that?
I tried it
And I was kind of confused at first. I'm like, am I doing it right? And then I tried it again. And then eventually I was like, okay, I think I'm doing it right. But yeah, I tried.
That's good. That's like I feel like well, it's good that you attempted, Christine. So that's amazing. So he puts it here in a lot better words than obviously I was able to. Going within the body, feeling that within the energy within the body. So this is really excellent because that subtle energetic field in the body extends outwards and stuff. That's our life force energy. That's God's energy. And it's not just on us. It's in everybody. It's in everything. Everything is energy, right? So even if you were to sit next to the tree and just subtly feel the tree, even the wind, like all of that is source's energy flowing, and it's an interconnectedness. We all have that, and we all are connected. So even if you were like, with a friend or a partner, and you put your guys' hands not touching each other, but an inch or 2 inches away, and you're touching each other's energy, that's God's energy. You both have that energy. You're sharing that energy flow. Even though we all are told, like, cleanse your own energy, protect your own energy, it's all the same. We all have interconnected energy. So, yes, people, have their stuff and stuff like that, but like you you vibrationally attract these people and these situations. Um, but it's all life force energy. We all have that flowing through us. Does anybody else have anything they want to say?
I'm trying to find where it said it. But basically, like, I know you said about, like, practicing and like trying to feel the energy body, and I tried to do that, like, I guess, like, at home, like laying down or meditating, and I didn't really get to feel it. I think that I was overthinking
Probably.
it. But I went to a concert the other day, and literally, like, he described to a T like what I felt. Like, how he said, I didn't get an image, but I just had like that feeling.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
So
this
he
is from the
he was
section.
talking about the energy on page 112. That was the last page. Connecting with the inner body. I think that's what you mean.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I was like trying not to mess up while I was reading, so I like couldn't see which section.
Oh, no worries. I know. I understand.
I don't know how you do
I, I get a little pencil.
it.
Little pencil. Um.
Oh, when he's talking about like the body that you can see and touch cannot take you into the being, but that visible, tangible body is an outer shell, a rather limited and distorted perception of a deeper reality.
mm.
Um, that's to inhabit the body is to feel.
Describe your event at the concert, like a
Well,
little.
first of all, the energy in there like was just incredible.
Yeah.
What concert was this? Bad Bunny. Hello.
Oh my God, I love it.
She's like, hello.
Hello. Like, literally, I swear, like, everywhere I've gone, like the last few days, like, I literally see people on their social media looking at Bad Bunny. I hear them playing the music. Like, it's just everywhere. Like, he's here in town, and like, I don't know, everybody knows it.
Yeah, of course.
It's amazing, like, the amount of people that he can reach, like, that to me is like mind blowing. Like, people who don't even share his interest or his kind of music or anything. But basically, like, what I was experiencing was, like, at one point, like, I don't know, like, I don't dance much, and I know, like, that's a thing, like, to, I guess, to move energy, and I guess that's why maybe I was experiencing something different, but I just felt like I was out of my body, and I could just see my body dancing.
Oh, that's so cool. That's cool.
Yeah. I was like thrown off. I'm just like, I don't know what's going on right now. Like I'm vibing, but
That's awesome. What a
yeah.
cool experience.
It was, yeah.
All right, so if somebody wants to continue reading, we're on the last paragraph on page 112.
I'll read. Okay. So the feeling of your inner body is formless, limitless, and unfathomable. You can always go into it more deeply. If you cannot feel very much at this stage, pay attention to whatever you can feel. Perhaps there is just a slight tingling in your hands or feet. That's good enough for the moment. Just focus on the feeling. Your body is coming alive. Later, we will practice some more. Please open your eyes now, but keep some attention in the inner energy field of the body even as you look around the room. The inner body lies at the threshold between your form, identity, and your essence identity, your true nature. Never lose touch with it. Transformation through the body. Why have most religions condemned or denied the body? It seems that spiritual seekers have always regarded the body as a hindrance or even as sinful. Why have so few seekers become finders? On the level of the body, humans are very close to animals. All the basic bodily functions pleasure, pain, breathing, eating, drinking, defecating, sleeping, the drive to find a mate and procreate, and of course, birth and death we share with the animals. A long time after their fall from a state of grace and oneness into illusion, humans suddenly woke up in what seemed to be an animal body, and they found this very disturbing. Don't fool yourself. You are no more than an animal. This seemed to be the truth that was staring them in the face, but it was too disturbing, a truth to tolerate. Adam and Eve saw that they were naked, and they became afraid. Unconscious denial of their animal nature set in very quickly. The threat that they might be taken over by powerful instinctual drives and reverts back to complete unconsciousness was indeed a very real one. Shame and taboos appeared around certain parts of the body and bodily functions, especially sexuality. The light of their consciousness was not yet strong enough to make friends with their animal nature, to allow it to be and even to enjoy that aspect of themselves, let alone to go deeply into it to find the divine hidden within. Within within it. Sorry. The reality within the illusion so they did what they had to do. They began to disassociate from their body. They now saw themselves as having a body rather than just being it. When religions arose, this disassociation became even more pronounced as the you are not your body belief. Countless people in East and West throughout the ages have tried to find God, salvation, or enlightenment through the denial of the body. This took the form of denial of sense pleasures and of sexuality in particular. Fasting and other a- what is that? Aesthetic? I don't know. Aesthetic practices. They even inflicted pain on the body in an attempt to weaken or punish it because they regarded it as sinful. In Christianity, this used to be called mortification of the flesh. Others tried to escape from the body by entering a trance state or seeking out of body experiences. Many still do. Even the Buddha is said to have practiced body denial through fasting and extreme forms of. Okay, does anybody know that word? Asceticism?
Yes. Aestheticism.
Asceticism. Thank you. Asceticism for 6 years. But he did not attain enlightenment until after he had given up this practice. The fact is that no one has ever become enlightened through denying or fighting the body or through an out of body experience. Although such an experience can be fascinating and can give you a glimpse of the state of liberation from the material form, in the end, you will always have to return to the body, where the essential work of transformation takes place. Transformation is through the body, not away from it. This is why no true master has ever advocated fighting or leaving the body, although their mind based followers often have. Of the ancient teachings concerning the body, only certain fragments survive, such as Jesus' statement that your whole body will be filled with light, or they survive as myths, such as the belief that Jesus never relinquished his body, but remained one with it and ascended into heaven with it. Almost no one to this day has understood those fragments or the hidden meaning of certain myths, and the you are not your body belief has prevailed universally, leading to body denial and attempts to escape from the body. Countless seekers have thus been prevented from attaining spiritual realization for themselves and becoming finders. It is possible to recover the lost teachings on the significance of the body or to construct them from the existing oh, that was a question. or of the body or to construct them from the existing fragments. There is no need for that. All spiritual teachings originate from the same source. In that sense, there is and always has been only one master who manifests in many different forms. I am that master, and so are you. Once you're able to access the source within, and the way to it is through the inner body. Although all spiritual teachings originate from the same source, once they become verbalized and written down, they are obviously no more than collection of words. And a word is nothing but a signpost, as we talked about earlier. All such teachings are signposts pointing the way back to the source. I have already spoken of the truth that is hidden within your body, but I will summarize for you again the lost teachings of the masters. So here's another signpost. Please endeavor to feel your inner body as you read or listen. Sermon on the Body. What you perceive as a dense physical structure called the body, which is subject to disease, old age, and death, is not ultimately real. It is not you. It is a misperception of your essential reality that is beyond birth and death, and it is due to limitations of your mind, which, having lost touch with being, creates the body as evidence of its illusory belief in separation, and to justify its state of fear. But do not turn away from the body, for within that symbol of impermanence, limitation, and death that you perceive as the illusory creation of your mind is concealed the splendor of your essential and immortal reality. Do not turn your attention elsewhere in your search for the truth, for it is nowhere else to be found but within your body. Do not fight against the body, for in doing so, you are fighting against your own reality. You are your body. The body that you can see and touch is only a thin, illusory veil. Underneath it lies the invisible inner body, the doorway into being, into life unmanifested. Through the inner body, you are inseparable, connected to this unmanifested one life, birthless, deathless, eternally present. Through the inner body, you are forever one with God. And then there's a pause. I don't know if to keep going.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping me with those words. I'm a teacher, and I was like, oh my God, someone help.
I don't I don't see that word too much, as we when we read spiritual books for sure. Um so yeah, this is great section here where he talks about basically it's interesting because have you guys heard that? I know like Jasmine and Christine, I know you guys. Oh, welcome Discipline, by the way, sorry. Um but Jasmine and Christine, I know that you guys grew up in the church system, religious system. I've been so far away from religion that I don't really understand this disassociation with the body because I've been like spiritual enlightenment. The only way to get there is through within the body, so Does this resonate with you guys? Does this make sense?
I would say yeah. I mean, like kind of like there's like how the part where it resonated the most where I was talking more about the taboos. And
Mm.
let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, when we was talking about how Adam and Eve woke up, and then they were.
Yeah, like in denial or something, or like they were like like they couldn't they had to go against their instincts almost.
Yeah, it says this took the form of denial of sense of pleasure and sexuality in particular,
Mm,
fasting and other ascetic practices, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I feel like, I mean, they do. I mean, I feel that with religion and everything, it's not where they tell you you can and can. Well, they do tell you can and cannot do. So they're kind of like I guess depriving is the right word, where they say you can't do this, but it's kind of like your instincts tell you, well, why not? Like I want to do this. It's what I feel like I should kind of do. And yeah, I mean, in that sense, I don't know. Yeah.
Mm, that makes sense. That makes sense. And the fasting, now that I see that, because they do different fastings around different things. Even in my spiritual practices, like there's fasting and stuff like that, but more so like um the first experience I ever had with fasting was when I was in my 20s, and I was trying to get closer to my father, who had passed when I was like 4. And so I fasted for like 21 days, um just cuz I thought it would bring me closer to him, which personally it did. But I mean, if you have nothing else to do and you're not spending your time eating, then you're spending your time connecting in a different way. So it's interesting. But I don't see that as like a disassociation or a punishment. I don't see it as a negative thing, which almost sense like he's discussing it as if it's a negative sense here.
Well, yeah, because it's like such a, it's so restricting, right? Like it's literally telling you like, well, basically, like I grew up in a Catholic church, and it's like no sex before marriage, or like commandments, and me having to sit there and like tell a priest like, oh, I talked back to my mother, or I did this, or I did that. It's just, it is negative. Like when you think about it, like like from the state of mind that I'm at now, it's like it's so controlling, right? Like, can you imagine like being a child and growing up in like that type of structure?
Oh yeah.
I was thinking of something similar to that today. That when you're little, I guess through religion and all that stuff, they tell you what you can and cannot do, and God doesn't like this, and you have to behave like this, and like the sex before marriage thing, like that's frowned upon, and you shouldn't be feeling this way, or it's not normal, or whatever. And then it's kind of like I don't know. I'm in a headspace now where I'm like, man, like I could literally, obviously, I'm not gonna hurt anyone, but I can do whatever I want, like anything that would make me happy. And as long as I'm not hurting anyone or you know, breaking the law, I can, like, who's to say that I can't, I don't know, like, I don't know. Like,
Enjoy enjoy the
yeah,
fun of life.
exactly. I guess, exactly. Okay. I'm glad you guys understand because,
No, basically
uh,
what they're doing, they're trapping you in your own mind, like
exactly,
restricting you, like,
exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
then you grow up thinking you can't do all these things and like something bad's gonna happen.
Yes, yes, yes. You're restricted. It's
It's
like,
like, oh, you don't respect your parents, you're gonna go to hell when you die.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. And then later you realize that then your grandma tells you that your mom was like the worst when she was a kid. And it's like, wait a minute, what? She didn't even respect you? Are you kidding me?
mm,
I used to always question that when my my grandmother is like ordained into the church and stuff like that. And there would be certain things when we were younger, she would say certain things, and I would look at her like, why would you want to follow something evil like that punishes you? Like, it don't make any sense to me. Like, it just never. I was like, I would tell my mom, like, I think they're crazy over there. I just don't understand. Like, why? Like, people are like, I'm an all fearing or a God fearing man or woman, and I'm like, I would never fear something I like that's supposed to be this almighty powerful thing. Like, I just don't believe somebody's up there punishing, pointing a finger and punishing me. Like, I just don't want to believe that.
Yeah, it's kind of like stressful because you start thinking, did I do this right? Is this okay? Oh God, am I going to get in? Oh no, I'm going straight to hell. And it's like, what? It's so stressful, you know? I'd
Literally
rather just,
5-year-old me.
yeah.
Oh man, I feel for you guys.
Not only that, they also had, like statues that they wanted you to pray to. And
Oh,
like I took Bible study and like they had a Virgin Mary statue and we all had to put our lips on that thing. Like we all had to kiss the freaking statue before we walked to class.
well, that's like definitely 100% pre-COVID, yeah.
Exactly, 100%.
It's like,
But it's like, okay, like we're supposed to believe in God, but then you want us to pray to Jesus, you want us to pray to Mary. Like we have to ask, another entity or whatever to pray to the, like the big guy. Like it didn't add up. It didn't make sense.
Hmm.
yeah. My grandmother yesterday, she's like, I know you're having, car issues. You need to go to the Botanica on 8th Street in Little Havana or whatever, and you need to get this saint that for protection and put him in the car. And I'm like, Grandma, a sticker of a guy is not going to help me prevent any issues with my car. I need to be vigilant with my driving, I live in Miami. There's like no avoiding that. And
Listen,
I have to be on top of
you're
my
in
car.
Miami. You're in
Yeah.
Miami. Though. I would definitely get some like statues, some put some of the eggshells on the
Yeah.
tires, all of it. You need all the protection
Yeah.
you can
Yeah. Yeah.
get. You need all the protection down there. The Miami's traffic is crazy. It's crazy. So we're on page 116 on the bottom. Does anybody else want to read? All right, I'm gonna attempt to read here. All right,
I'll
so
go again if you want.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm totally down for it.
All right, cool. Let's go. Have deep roots within. The key is to be in a state of permanent connectedness with your inner body, to feel it at all times. This will rapidly deepen and transform your life. The more consciousness you direct into the inner body, the higher its vibrational frequency becomes, much like a light that grows brighter as you turn up the dimmer switch, and so increase the flow of electricity. At this higher energy level, negativity cannot affect you anymore, and you tend to attract new circumstances that reflect this higher frequency. If you keep your attention in the body as much as possible, you will be anchored in the now. You won't lose yourself in the external world, and you won't lose yourself in your mind. Thoughts and emotions, fears and desires may still be there to some extent, but they won't take you over. Please examine where your attention is at the moment. You are listening to me, or you are reading these words in a book. That is the only focus of your attention. You are also I hate this word peripherally
Yeah.
aware of your surroundings, other people, and so on. Furthermore, there may be some mind activity around what you are hearing or reading, some mental commentary. Yet there is no need for any of this to absorb all your attention. See if you can be in touch with your inner body at the same time. Keep some of your attention within. Don't let it all flow out. feel your whole body from within as a single field of energy. It is almost as if you were listening or reading with your whole body. Let this be your practice in the days and weeks to come. Do not give all your attention away to the mind and the external world. By all means, focus on what you are doing, but feel the inner body at the same time whenever possible. Stay rooted within. Then observe how this changes your state of consciousness and the quality of what you are doing. Whenever you are waiting, wherever it may be, use that time to feel the inner body. In this way, traffic jams and lines become very enjoyable. Instead of mentally projecting yourself away from the now, go more deeply into the now by going more deeply into the body. The art of inner body awareness will develop into a completely new way of living, a state of permanent connectedness with being, and will add a depth to your life that you have never known before. It is easy to stay present as the observer of your mind when you are deeply rooted within your body. No matter what happens on the outside, nothing can shake you anymore. Unless you stay present, and inhabiting your body is always an essential aspect of it, you will continue to be run by your mind. The script in your head that you learned a long time ago, the conditioning of your mind will dictate your thinking and your behavior. You may you may be free of it for brief intervals, but rarely for long. This is especially true when something goes wrong or there is some loss or upset. Your conditioned reaction will then be involuntarily automatic and predictable, fueled by the one basic emotion that underlies the mind identified state of consciousness: fear. So when such challenges come, as they always do, make it a habit to go within at once and focus as much as you can on the inner energy field of your body. This need not take long, just a few seconds, but you need to do it at the moment that the challenge presents itself. Any delay will allow a conditioned mental, emotional reaction to arise and take you over. When you focus within and feel the inner body, you immediately become still and present as you are withdrawing consciousness from the mind. If a response is required in that situation, it will come up from the deeper level. Just as the sun is infinitely brighter than a candle flame, there is an infinitely more intelligence in being than in your mind. As long as you are in conscious contact with your inner body, you are like a tree that is deeply rooted in the earth or a building with a deep and solid foundation. The latter analogy is used by Jesus in the generally misunderstood parable of the two men who build a house. One man builds it on the sand without a foundation, and when the storm and floods come, the house is swept away. The other man digs deep until he reaches the rock, then builds his house, which is not swept away by the floods. Before you enter the body, forgive. I felt very uncomfortable when I tried to put my attention on the inner body. There was a feeling of agitation and some nausea. So I haven't been able to experience what you're talking about. What you feel was a lingering emotion that you were probably unaware of until you started putting some attention into the body. Unless you first give it some attention, the emotion will prevent you from gaining access to the inner body, which lies at a deeper level underneath it. Attention does not mean that you start thinking about it. It means to just observe the emotion, to feel it fully, and so to acknowledge and accept it as it is. Some emotions are easily identified: anger, fear, grief, and so on. Others may be much harder to label. They may just be vague feelings of an unease, heaviness, or constriction, halfway between an emotion and a physical sensation. In any case, what matters is not whether you can attach a mental label to it, but whether you can bring the feeling of it into awareness as much as possible. Attention is the key to transform, and full attention also implies acceptance. Attention is like a beam of light, the focused power of your consciousness that transmutes everything into itself. In a fully functional organism, An emotion has a very short lifespan. It is like a momentary ripple or wave on the surface of your being. When you are not in your body, however, an emotion can survive inside you for days or weeks, or join with other emotions of similar frequency that have merged and become the pain body. A parasite that can live inside you for years, feed on your energy, lead to physical illness, and make your life miserable. See chapter 2. So place your attention on feeling the emotion and check whether your mind is holding on to a grievance pattern such as blame, self pity, or resentment that is feeding the emotion. If that is the case, it means that you haven't forgiven. Non forgiveness is often toward another person or yourself, but it may just as well be toward any situation or condition, past, present, or future, that your mind refuses to accept. Yes, there can be non forgiveness, even with regard to the future. This is the mind's refusal to accept uncertainty, to accept that the future is ultimately beyond its control. Forgiveness is to relinquish your grievance and so to let go of grief. It happens naturally once you realize that your grievance serves no purpose except to strengthen a full sense of self. Forgiveness is to offer no resistance to life, to allow life to live through you. The alternatives are pain and suffering and greatly restricted flow of life energy, and in many cases, physical disease. The moment you truly forgive, you have reclaimed your power from the mind. Non forgiveness is the very nature of the mind, just as the mind made self, mind made false self, the ego cannot survive without strife and conflict. The mind cannot forgive, only you can. You become present, you enter your body, you feel the vibrant peace and stillness that emanate from being. That is why Jesus said, before you enter the temple, forgive. And there's a pause.
Thank you. So I would say we're at 8:53. If anyone want to open up discussion? Anybody have any thoughts? So this is, like he said stated before, something that in chapter 2, where we talked about it, the emotions being held in the body, um, and I know I spoke on it before about where I've studied Chinese medicine, and this is backed up by science. You know what we have when we hold different emotions within the body, they can form dis-eases within the body, the pain body, and so this he's basically just reminding us, every day we should be doing these inner checks. We need to be going within and connecting to our inner body, and if we feel these emotions, the more we become connected to that innerness, that stillness, that peace, the source, the more we can sense where the emotions that have come up throughout the day, the week, long years ago, but the more we experience that inner stillness, the more we are able to pick up those emotions that can get stuck in the body. Maybe it was a small disagreement with somebody that you had, or there was a little bit of frustration at work or something, and if you don't fully check in with yourself, it can sit there and it can linger. um I've been watching more and more about the emotional body system, and there's people, just, most of us run every single day, um, just so unaware of the programs or the emotions that are stuck within our body that are just running in our subconscious. And this is one of the ways to help break free of that. So, and then forgiveness is a big one. Um, Usually along the spiritual path, when I'm working with clients, and even when I've worked with myself, we work through these situations of our childhood, and we recognize, oh, okay, I'm this way, and I've been reacting this way because of something that happened in my childhood. And okay, so now I have this awareness, and now I can make these changes. But if we don't go through and forgive the situation, then it can still linger and it can still pop up. And I find that sometimes you still have to revisit it, right? Sometimes, you work through the situation. Like, I had a when I was younger, I was sexually abused. um and so I understood why I had certain patterns, like in relationships, and why I would choose certain partners, or why, like, um I didn't receive love in certain ways. And I healed that, and I worked through that, and then I forgave the situation, and I forgave the person. And then I had to work through a deeper level of forgiving myself as I got older, and I even worked through it even deeper. So there's layers of that stuff, and you don't have to like beat yourself up when it comes up, because we're all human, right? So it could be cycles of these things that come through, and you're like, I already worked on that. But then it just comes back to you to forgive at a deeper level, because you're a different person now.
I totally agree with that, and I can relate. Um, and then with that too, like what I'm more conscious of now is when I respond to certain situations, like is it my trauma response? Um, because just like transitioning from trying to get like rid of my trauma to being better, like he explained here. What was it? This especially true when something goes wrong or there's some loss or upset. Your conditioned reaction will then be involuntary, automatic, predictable, fueled by one basic emotion that underlies the mind identified state of consciousness, fear.
Hmm. What page is that on?
That's on 118, second to last paragraph. And like that's how I feel about like like being conditioned and everything. I just feel like it's my trauma. So something my therapist told me to help me out was when I respond to situations to stop and ask myself, like, is this my trauma? Well, I'm having like mom issues right now. So is it my trauma, my mama, or is it like my true emotion?
Hmm. That's it. Those are good prompts to ask ourselves.
Right?
Yeah, I think from one of our last sessions, I think it was one of those things where you kind of had to like, uh, what was it that we were saying, that how we respond to someone's actions kind of tells us more about how we feel. Like it's like a reflection of ourselves. So I
Yeah.
kind of went through that last week, and I was like, wait a minute, why am I so mad at this? This is not even a big deal. So I had to kind of like check myself, and I was like, okay, we got to work through that one. But yeah.
Yeah, because usually, like, when somebody says something, or does something that upsets us, it's not that actual thing, usually, that upsets us. It's something that it's triggering regarding, an experience we've had in the past, for sure. Yeah. I'm just thinking, recalling, like, yep, I still have things that I need to work on as well.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that, and it's the same. And I swear, like you said, like it's never the one thing; it's more than that. So I feel like any little thing after that just like intensifies it and makes it
Hmm.
feel worse than what it really probably is.
Yeah, I do like that saying where they say, take a pause, and is this gonna matter in like 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 years? from now, you know?
Yeah, every time my mom tries to like she she doesn't check herself before she wrecks herself. So I kind of like she kind of just explodes with frustration, and then everybody has to kind of hear it. And then when she comes for me, I look at her and I said, "This is okay. Everything's gonna be fine. It's not gonna matter in 5 minutes. Relax, tone it down. You're gonna be okay. You're safe." And then she looks at me because she can't like vent and explode like she wants to. And then she's like, "Damn, you're right." And I'm like, "Exactly. It's okay. You're gonna be fine." And then she just kind of like, "Damn, like, like where else is she gonna unleash it?" I'm like, "Not here, girl. Not here."
That's so funny. I love like you could be that way with your mom though. That's good. That's good. And eventually, like she'll catch on.
Yeah, I check my grandma. I check my grandma all the time, to the point now that, like, when we do have conversations, she ends up checking herself.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, like she'll be going on and maybe like she feels my energy, or I'll just be like, because I kind of let her rant for a little bit before I like check her. But then she's like, oh, you always tell me not to talk about negative things, so let me talk about something else.
Oh, that's great.
Right?
That's awesome. I love it. That's awesome. I wish my grandma was still alive. I'd be like, listen, girl.
My grandma, for us, it's opposite. Like, I feel bad because I feel like since she's older, so I just kind of listen and I'm like, okay, like, I don't want to check her. I feel so bad. And my mom, I'm like, listen, lady, no, you need to calm down. It's like the roles are switched. Like, I can't.
Girl, like when you can, like what I do too is like I literally will change the topic and start talking about something completely random or like different. Like, if I don't want to check her, because sometimes she does get mad, like I just completely go sideways with the conversation. I'll be like, oh, how's so and so? Or something like that. And it works every time.
That's a great idea. I'm going to try it.
Like, did you see that thing on TV?
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Not the news, though.
It's like,
Yeah, not the news.
yeah, it's like, Grandma, did you see that a Ferrari crashed into Bad Bunny's car? Oh my gosh. She was like, she was like, ¿Qué? I was like, oh my God.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna wrap it up here. So those who are listening in, we are completing at we're stopping at page 121, and we'll pick up next Sunday. I really appreciate Jasmine and Christine, you guys reading today, helping a sister out. Okay. And next week, I definitely will be on the mend, because I'm on the mend already. But I am Shannon. I'm the spiritual gangsta. I am the owner of Anchored Soul Therapy. We're reading Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. And you can get all the playbacks on anchoredsoultherapy.com. And if you want, you can sign up for the emails on there as well. And the emails will get you book clubs, and you'll get all the integrated homeworks. Not homework, all the integrative work to help you guys integrate your spiritual lessons that we're learning through here. All right, with that said, thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you in the future.